One of the tenets of faith with regards to many religions and to Judaism as well, of course, is the partition, the difference that one has between one's physical body and one's spiritual soul. And there is a belief, a foundation in the tenets of belief in many religions that while one might be rid, so to speak, of their physique, of their physical body once they depart from this world, physically, spiritually, the neshama, the soul, continues to exist for longevity, for eternity, in whatever realm that might be, which is far beyond our comprehension or understanding. But nonetheless, this remains a fundamental with regards to our faith in Hashem, in our future. And the Rambam, the Maimonides himself, says that it is tantamount to one of the 13 bases of beliefs, of faiths that we have in the Jewish religion. And this is something that is substantiated as well in this week's Torah portion. The Torah portion of Parshat Hukat has many strange portions in it, things that we don't necessarily understand. One of them is at the very beginning of the Parsha, where the Torah tells us that if someone comes in contact with a deceased, with the body of a deceased, that a person becomes tameh, the highest level of impurity, as it were. That impurity lasts for at least 7 days, and the only way for that person to become pure or purify themselves once again is through the Efer Para Aduma, these ashes that are sprinkled on him from the red heifer. Whatever it means and how it's interpreted and how we understand it or don't understand it, that's why it's a chok, something that we don't necessarily understand, we'll leave that aside. But what's fascinating, and it's something that I want to share with you from a personal perspective, is that the Torah says in the heart of this particular portion, Hanogea bamet lechol nefesh adam hatamei utamei shivat yamim. Hanogea bamet, someone who touches a deceased, Rachmana litzlan, someone who has died, lechol nefesh adam, to every spiritual part of that person, v'tamei shivat yamim. They are, or that person who touched that deceased is impure for those 7 days. Now, what's interesting, and the Rashar Hirsch brings this down, is that within the context of this pasuk, the Torah is very clear in differentiating between tamei met, nogea bamet, which is the bodily parts of a person, lechol nefesh adam. The nefesh adam is the spiritual entity of the person, what we would call the soul. And says the Rashar Hirsch as follows: Hakatuv mavchin ba'ofen barur bein meit, and he puts it in quotations, lebein nefesh adam. The pasuk purposely differentiates between a deceased and between the soulful part of a person. Legufat hamet yesh kesher lenefesh ha'adam. The body is clearly wrapped up and an integral part of the soul. Hi ba'a mimenu. The body comes from the soul. Hi shayechet lo. It is part and parcel of the soul. Achi ve'hanefesh einam davar echad. Rav Hirsch ends his commentary here by saying, but we have to understand that the body and the soul are not at all the same. They are not one. Why does he say this? He says this for people like myself and people out there who struggle with those who have departed from us. We think to ourselves, how can it be? We lose a loved one. We lose someone who is close to us. We lose a child. How are we expected to continue to exist? And this is something that I have said consistently and something that I will continue to say consistently, because I do believe in resilience. I do believe in the spirit of inspiration, and I do believe in spirit. I believe in the neshama. Regardless of the fact that a body has departed from this world, let us understand, achi ve'hanefesh einam davar echad. The body and the soul are two separate entities. The body may have left us, and we cannot hug, and we cannot embrace, and we cannot enjoy that person as we know it within this physical realm. But the nefesh is davar echad. It is a separate entity. The soul continues to resonate. The soul and the spirit continues to be present. So we may purify ourselves after 7 days from having touched the deceased in their bodily form or in the deceased form of the body, but the soul continues to resonate, continues to be there. That is everlasting. This is something that I remind myself consistently of regarding Gila. I know that I can't embrace her or touch her or hear her or see her, but I hear and see and touch her in different ways. Through her spirit, lechol nefesh adam. the Spirit remains and is everlasting. This is the Torah way, the Jewish way, and it is and always will remain the Gila way. Shabbat Shalom.